Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Jason Wong on the line, and he's founder and CEO of Packing Duck, and he's a serial entrepreneur. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Jason, we got a lot to talk about here today. First off, for everybody listening, we're going to get into, I saw this on my sheet and I'm like, are you serious? So Doe Lashes going from $500 to $15 million in 1 year, and how you helped to manage that shift and what you did. So we're going to get into that and more. But first, whenever I see somebody that's a serial entrepreneur, I got to ask, man, what was one of those first businesses? How'd you get started?
Yeah, I mean, my very first business, if you want to go very far back,
I want to go way back. Well, we've been on the playground, and I would have had the baseball cards. You would have had something else. Like, what would have been our barters? Go back.
Oh, this is second grade. I remember I was in California, second grade. I was buying cases of Capri Suns from Walmart and selling them for 50 cents wherever I can. And I was just making money and learning to trade there. And then I got moved into like selling candy in school. I think every entrepreneur has like that story. And then eventually selling something on the internet I was selling rechargeable phone cases on the internet when the iPhone 4 came out. That was like when phones started consuming a lot of batteries and you need a lot more batteries to do whatever. So that's how I sold my first thing on the internet. That was like the transition from just little money being exchanged to selling things for hundreds of dollars and making thousands of dollars overnight. It was a big transition.
That's amazing. I'm curious on this particular venture. So Packing Duck, how'd you get the idea for it? Like, where'd that come from? I see the term founder here. Where'd you get the idea?
Yeah, this is my main thing. It's my baby. I've been running my own brand for the last 8-9 years. And over time, I just realized that my passion and love was in the manufacturing and design part of it. It wasn't in running the brand. And so I took the money that I made and bought a piece of the factory that was supplying me as a client. And so we had a great relationship. These factories are doing an amazing work, but they have trouble selling to the outside world. They have to go to conventions. They have to do outreach through cold email. They were just doing a lot of stuff. And we have so much connections in the CPG space with different brands and across different industries that I was like, you know what? Like, I think if I can take over this factory, I can 2-3x this business easily because I just need them to have the operation infrastructure and I can bring the business. And that's what I did exactly. I built the technology and modernized the process. I create a content system that's getting tens of millions of views. And I'm creating a brand new category of factories that are not just factories, but a media company, a technology company, and most importantly, in a factory on its own.
You don't have to get into specific numbers here, but I love the idea. I love the concept of collaboration. I love the thought process of, hey, at its simplest terms, it's like, hey, we're great at marketing. We're great. We have the connections. We have the build. You have the infrastructure, meaning the physical factory, right? And the ability to deliver on what we can sell. How do you put together a deal like that? And again, you don't have to get into specific numbers, but I'm just curious on how you get that from idea to like, hey, we're in business together. That's pretty cool to me, by the way.
Yeah, I got this idea on a train to Guangzhou because I was still going back there.
I've been to Guangzhou. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
you name a place that I've actually been. That's amazing. I've only been to China once, and I've actually been there. Go ahead, please.
That's incredible. That is the spot to go to. That is like the Las Vegas of China in terms of like how many people pass by it. But basically, we were running a sourcing company to the beauty company. And one day we just realized that sourcing anything and everything, it's too much variety and there's not a lot of leverage, right? Like leverage in business comes in volume and it really only comes when you're specialized in one single thing. And when we're doing sourcing for anything, we're doing Bluetooth headphones, we're doing hearing aids, we're doing eyeglasses, slippers, whatever. There's no leverage. And so we want to narrow in on one thing that every single CPG consumer brands will need, one thing that everyone's overlooked, and one thing that no one's truly happy about. And packaging fit every single one of that boxes.
Oh, wow.
So basically I went back to the factories that I'm working with and I was like, hey, listen, what do you say if I can triple your business? Like, let me try to bring you a lot more new leads that you would never have gotten. And if you're happy with that, if we're doing great there, then give me the opportunity to buy a piece of the company. And so before we got into business, I proved myself by bringing in some incredible brands who are now our longest time customers. And on the upside for these brands I'm working with, we're saving them 10 to 25% on their packaging costs. 10 to 25, just imagine that. If you're saving a few cents or 10 cents here and multiply that by hundreds of thousands of units, you're saving tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars over time. And so it was a great collaboration overall. We were able to show the factories that we're serious. We're able to help our clients save a lot of money. And it also gave us a lot of momentum to start Packing Duck and make it the fastest growing packaging firm in the United States.
What an amazing story. I love that. I want to get into that case study of sorts. So Dough Lashes, from $500 to $15 million in 1 year. Where do you want to even start with that story? I was like, that's absolutely amazing.
That story was basically engineered from the get-go. I got into that brand knowing that the direction that I want to get into, because I want to prove to people and prove to myself that you can build a brand with very little budget. For the longest time, we were taught to believe that you need a ton of money to start a business. We were taught to believe that you need to have everything right in order to start a business. And so, I was just exiting out of my previous company. I was selling coloring books, and that's another story for another day. Right when I exited that, I wanted to do something new. And I discovered this whole industry of makeup, of Korean, Asian makeup being really big as a movement in the United States, but no one's really making anything for lashes. And so I took what I saw was working already and I applied it to this new product category. But I didn't have a lot of money to start with, because I also want to show that you could do a lot with less. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself $500 and I'm going to buy just enough inventory for me to gift to some influencers, and the rest I'm going to sell. And the strategy that I did was I went after the nano influencers, not the micro influencers, not the people with a lot of audience, but the people who were making great content who weren't being recognized. And I thought that was like the most underdeveloped and underserved community, because they don't get sponsors. They just make great content, but they don't get paid for it. So I said, what if they do, right? And so this is back in 2018. This is the beginning of TikTok. This is when Musical.ly became TikTok and everyone was just doing lip syncs and dances. But what I saw on TikTok was an algorithm that was rewarding people for making great content, even if they didn't have a lot of followers. And a lot of brands didn't really take it serious back then. And so I think it's a little bit of a right place, right time. I was able to be in that time when the platform was just in its infancy stage. And we were able to capture that momentum and that tailwind. We blew up and we went from 0 to 150,000 followers in a little bit over 8 months. We're getting tens of millions of views for virtually no money. And we're able to pay these no-name influencers and creators. We can't really call it an influencer yet because they don't really have that big of an audience.
There's content creators, they're out there and they're passionate about what they're doing and they're just making their content. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so our strategy was to go after these people who are underserved, and they're so eager, they're so passionate about working with us that we eventually built an army of people who are just talking about us on the internet, and they got free products. They sometimes get paid if they're making a sale for us, and overall everyone won. We became an indie brand that was growing out of TikTok, and everyone really won and ate from that.
Wow, what a story. And you were right there on the trend with the product too, right? Like 2018.
Yeah.
So that was before every single person needed to have that product, right? And maybe the reason why everybody had to have that product is because you had it everywhere on TikTok. I don't know. The chicken or the egg, Jason? I don't know. Which one came?
100%. And I think it's just like a lot of things that leads to success. It's like right place, right time, but also like just executing on it. And I think everything had to happen at the right place, right time, and also me initiating it for it to work. So I really owe a lot of credit to just being there.
That's absolutely amazing. And to all the content creators, like that's so inspiring out there. And also thinking about and this one I'm gonna ask this question specifically for the content creators. Like, how did people know that they wanted, how did you choose who you wanted to work with when you were building that army? Because that's helpful, because there's people that are listening to this that are thinking about how they should be working with brands or approaching them or otherwise. Like, how did you build that army?
We were just going after anyone and everyone who wanted to work with us at first. And then once we figured out who are the best type of people we want to work with, we started doubling down on that type of archetype. And so in the beginning, we were just sending products to anyone who was willing to post about us. And over time, as more people make content after receiving our products, we kind of figured out on what type of creators are the best type of creators for us to work with, what kind of person has the pain points that can demonstrate our product in the best way, and also like who are the most passionate. And we kind of found that sweet spot of like people with like 50 to 80,000 followers who are lifestyle and beauty creators. They're typically of Asian origins, and they just don't really see a lot of products that caters to their eyes, and they're willing to talk about us in the way that we keep them to. And so the answer to that is we went very wide in the beginning, and then after we saw what was working, we tripled down on the people that we felt like was the best for us.
Amazing. I want to go back to Packing Duck here. So let's get back into that side of things. How should entrepreneurs, how should leaders be thinking about packaging as a strategic growth lever? Like how, instead of just a cost, like how should they be thinking about that?
Oh my gosh, just think about the last time that packaging made a really big impression on you. Like how many of the people listening to this have still kept an iPhone box on their nightstand or somewhere in their closet, right? Just think about that. Like really impactful packaging are things that you keep around and you want to show it off. You want to have it for some reason. Maybe you want to use as a storage unit. Maybe you want to use it as a billboard for the product, or maybe you want to leave it out just so people know that it's something that you're using because it's so nice. Right? So like think about the nice soaps that you have, the nice, the nice containers that you still keep. So when I think about packaging, I think about, okay, can I create an experience that lives on after someone unboxes it for the first time, right? Like, is this something that they're going to toss away, or is this something that they're going to keep around? And if they're going to toss away, because naturally there will be things that you will have to toss away. Can we create an impression? Can we create an impact after they unbox so that it lives in their head, so that it creates a perception of the product? It elevates their perception and the value of the product. If they're going to keep it around, is this a packaging that is durable? Is this a packaging that is, great for them to keep around because they want to store cash inside? Maybe they want to store sewing kits inside. You get what I'm saying? Like there's different functions for packaging, and you have to think about like what is the best way for your packaging to live in someone else's space.
I love it. And it's true. Like how many times you just have a box and you just don't know why, but you just can't throw it away.
Exactly.
You just can't throw it away. I never thought about it from the standpoint of, because I've never been in the packaging business, but I never thought about it. Like somebody thought about that. Like we got to make this so nice that they're just going to leave it there and they're not going to want to throw it away. That's awesome.
1,000%.
And it's possible. It's possible because we've all done it. I'm looking at one right now as we speak. That's funny. Jason, this has been a lot of fun having you on today, and really appreciate you sharing your entrepreneurial journey. I was absolutely inspired. I'm sure others are as well. That being said, final question for Packing Duck. If people want to follow up, if they want to connect, if they want to learn more, how do they do that? And what are the typical type of clients and or that are a good fit typically to work with your team?
Yeah, you can find us on our Instagram at Duck, DUCK, or on our website, Packing Duck. That's PAKINGDUCK.com. I think our best type of clients will be anyone who's selling a product. If you're looking for a new way to present your product, if you're looking to save money on your packaging and you're serious about it, we're a great person to talk to. Who we're not good for is people who are, just kind of figuring out if they want to do a rebrand or if they want to order new packaging. Like, I need you to be committed. I need you to be very serious on what you're trying to create. Because if you are, we're able to create something very, very magical. But we would definitely encounter a lot of people who don't really know what they want yet, and it's not really a good use of time for everyone.
Wonderful. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll put those links in the show notes so that you can just click on the link, go connect with Jason's team. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Yes, you heard me correctly, daily. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So hit that subscribe or follow button. And Jason, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.